Welcome to our lecture on lipid metabolism. Today, we are going to explore the incredible biochemical engine that keeps us alive and moving, especially when we are not eating. We will uncover how our bodies store and extract massive amounts of energy from fats and why this process is the ultimate survival mechanism for human beings. Let us dive in. To truly understand lipid metabolism, I want you to think of your body as a highly advanced hybrid car. When you need immediate power for a short sprint, your body uses carbohydrates, much like a car using quick electricity. But for long cross-country drives, like sleeping through the night or running a marathon, your body switches to a dense, heavy-duty liquid fuel. This fuel is made of lipids, or fats. When you eat rich foods, your body stores these fats in tiny biological fuel tanks known as adipose cells. Lipid metabolism is simply the engine that pumps this dense fuel out of storage and burns it, ensuring we never run out of power. Now that we have an intuitive grasp, let us look at the formal biochemical definition. Lipid metabolism refers to the comprehensive set of cellular pathways responsible for synthesizing and degrading lipids. The primary goal here is to generate energy or build structural cell components. The absolute star of this show is a degradative pathway called beta oxidation. This is a cyclical series of reactions that takes place deep within the mitochondria of our cells. During beta oxidation, long fatty acid molecules are systematically chopped down, exactly 2 carbon atoms at a time. Each chop produces a crucial high-energy molecule called acetyl-CoA, which is the key to unlocking massive amounts of cellular energy. While breaking down fats is crucial, lipid metabolism is a two-way street. Alongside degradation, we have lipogenesis. This is the biosynthesis of fatty acids, like palmitic acid, from excess carbohydrates you consume. It is how your body saves surplus energy for a rainy day. Furthermore, this system has a brilliant failsafe called ketogenesis. When your carbohydrate levels drop dangerously low, your liver shifts gears. It starts converting fatty acid breakdown products into ketone bodies. This is vital because ketone bodies can cross the blood-brain barrier, providing a direct fuel source to keep your brain functioning when sugars are absent. Together, these pathways maintain a life-sustaining balance. Understanding these pathways brings us to a very important question. Why does this matter in our daily lives? Without lipid metabolism, human beings would have to eat constantly just to keep our hearts beating. Fats pack more than twice the energy per gram compared to carbohydrates, making them the ultimate biological battery. In the medical world, mastering this topic is the absolute foundation for treating severe conditions like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. When this metabolic engine malfunctions, fats dangerously accumulate in blood vessels or organs, leading to heart attacks or fatty liver disease. Even popular trends like the ketogenic diet rely entirely on manipulating these exact pathways to force the body to run on lipids. This incredible energy density we just discussed can actually be quantified. To truly appreciate how much energy a fatty acid holds, we use a specific mathematical formula to calculate the exact net yield of energy molecules, measured in ATP. The formula is Y equals the quantity N over 2 minus 1 times 4 plus the quantity N over 2 times 10 minus 2. Here, Y represents the total net yield of energy molecules produced. The variable N represents the total number of carbon atoms in the even-chain saturated fatty acid. As the value of N increases, meaning you have a longer fatty acid chain, the total energy yield Y increases massively. We will break down exactly where the numbers 4, 10, and 2 come from shortly. Before we dive into the theory behind the formula, let us see it in action with a concrete example. We want to calculate the net energy yield of one molecule of palmitic acid. First, we identify what is given. Palmitic acid has 16 carbon atoms, so N equals 16. We plug this into our formula to find the number of cuts, which is 16 divided by 2 minus 1, giving us 7 cuts. Next, we calculate the gross energy. 7 cuts times 4 plus 8 acetyl-CoA molecules times 10 gives us 108 gross energy molecules. Finally, we must subtract the mandatory activation cost of 2 molecules. This leaves us with a massive final net yield of 106 energy molecules from just 1 molecule of fat. Now that we have successfully calculated the yield for palmitic acid, let us try a slightly longer molecule, stearic acid. This time, our starting carbon count is 18, so N equals 18. Following the exact same logical sequence, we first find the number of cuts. 18 divided by 2 is 9, minus 1 gives us 8 cuts. To find the gross energy, we multiply the 8 cuts by 4 and the 9 acetyl-CoA units by 10. Adding 32 and 90 gives us 122 gross units. Finally, we subtract the activation energy of 2. Our final answer is a net yield of 120 energy molecules. Notice how adding just 2 extra carbons provided 14 additional units of energy? So, we have proven that the formula works and yields massive numbers. This brings us to an important question. Where exactly do the terms in this formula come from? Let us derive it step by step. We start with a fatty acid chain containing N carbon atoms. As we learned, the beta oxidation cellular machinery chops this chain into 2 carbon pieces, which are the acetyl-CoA molecules. Therefore, the total number of acetyl-CoA molecules produced is simply N divided by 2. Now, think about cutting a piece of string. To chop a chain into a certain number of pieces, you always make one less cut than the number of pieces. So the number of cuts, or beta oxidation cycles, is exactly N over 2 minus 1. Now that we have established the number of cuts and the number of pieces, let us look at the energy generated by each. Every single cut, which represents one cycle of the beta oxidation spiral, produces electron carriers. These carriers yield exactly 4 units of energy. Therefore, the total energy from the cuts is the number of cuts times 4. Next, we look at the pieces. Each 2-carbon acetyl-CoA molecule enters the citric acid cycle, where it generates 10 units of energy per turn. So the energy from the pieces is the number of acetyl-CoA molecules times 10. By adding these 2 sources together, we get the gross energy yield of the entire fatty acid chain. This brings us to the final step of our derivation. We have our gross energy, which is the sum of the energy from the cuts and the energy from the acetyl-CoA molecules. However, before the fatty acid could even enter the mitochondria to be burned, it had to be activated. This crucial preparatory step involves attaching a coenzyme A molecule, which burns an upfront cellular cost equivalent to 2 energy molecules. Therefore, to find the true net energy available to the cell, we must subtract this activation cost of 2 from our gross yield. And there we have it, the complete derived formula for the net energy yield of any even-chain saturated fatty acid. Now that we have mathematically proven how the energy is extracted, let us visualize this beautiful biological machinery. What you are looking at is the beta oxidation spiral. At the top, we have our starting long-chain fatty acid. Follow the large spiral arrow downward. This represents the cyclical nature of the pathway. With each loop, or cut, you can see arrows pointing outward on the right, releasing electron carriers like FADH2 and NADH, as well as the 2-carbon acetyl-CoA molecule. At the bottom, the fatty acid is now 2 carbons shorter. The dashed line on the left shows this shorter chain re-entering the spiral to be cut again. This cycle repeats systematically until the entire molecule is completely consumed and converted into pure energy. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so let us summarize our key takeaways. First, lipid metabolism is the body's ultimate strategy for long-term energy management and survival, acting as our heavy-duty biological battery. Second, the elegant process of beta oxidation systematically dismantles long fatty acid chains into 2-carbon fragments, releasing a massive cascade of cellular energy. Third, as we proved mathematically, longer lipid chains provide incredibly dense energy yields, which is why our bodies prefer to store excess calories as fat. Mastering these concepts not only explains human endurance, but provides the biochemical key to understanding nutrition and metabolic diseases. You now have the tools to calculate exactly how much power is hidden inside the fats we eat every day.